All right, mates, welcome back. Huge weekend. We are going to get out on the Upper Potomac today. Got a little bit of pre-fishing going on for a tourney coming up on Saturday. Kind of a double dip situation there. But crazy weekend going down. What a phenomenal weekend across the board. Hey, listen, don't forget Phantom Outdoors. Got a Father's Day special coming up. Be sure you check out Phantom Outdoors. Also, be sure you check out the sales at Rugged Road Outdoors coming up for Father's Day. If you need a discount code for either of those, you can hit me up and I will give that to you. Huge Saturday, I got to admit. Pretty much showed out all the different levels. MLF, Potomac River, Phoenix, Northeast Division event on Saturday out of Smallwood. 20.04 pound bag taken by the boater. 16.08 bag taken by Keith Allen from Virginia, Midland, Virginia, I think. The co-angler, that right there, I think that's his first win, but he's got like 10 top 10s in the Strike King Co-Angler MLF Phoenix Bass Fishing League. The winner was, I'm going to probably mess his name up, and I apologize, mate. I think it's Jeff Malloy, Mellott, or it could be Malott. I don't know how they pronounce that. That's his third win, and he's got 11 top 10s, okay, in MLF. So, huge shout out to that. Great to see the Lower Potomac show out. As usual, it's been pretty consistent with 20-pound bags, mates. You go back and look at all the tournaments. You basically got to get 20-pound bag in a single-day event on Potomac to win that thing. You know, that's just the way it's coming down. Then, obviously, huge, on the completely other side, kayak bass fishing. Huge trifecta, the trifecta victory by Drew Gregory. You can find him at Drew Gregory Fishing. Takes trailed stop 1, okay, Saturday's event on Lake Champlain, upstate. I say upstate New York, but hey, the KBF event was on the Vermont side this year, which was kind of killer. If you've ever vacationed up there, Vermont is absolutely outstanding. 95.75 trail day 1, 96.5 trail day 2, 192.25 inches for the weekend for the Pro Series. Drew Gregory took trail day 1, trail day 2, and the Pro Series, and a couple other stuff, probably Dakota Lithium Bucks or Power Bucks, whatever, all that other stuff. That is a huge thing. Gregory wins again. I think he finished in the top. He may have finished second. I know he finished top 5. I think he finished second last year on Lake Champlain as well. So he's gone back fishing, as you guys know, waiting for them to come in the Crescent Shoalie. Okay, personally, I'm waiting for the Shoalies to come in stock. All right. So check out your dealer for Crescent Kayaks, the Shoalie Kayak, designed by Drew Gregory. Check that out. Plenty of videos on YouTube. Huge showing for KBF in terms of that kind of trifecta. 88 anglers. Didn't make 100. Didn't crack 100. But, mates, I'm going to be honest. I mean, I know there'll be the haters out there that'll talk their shit, all they talk about. But, hey, man, gas is $5-6 a gallon. I mean, and I know where I live. That's 10 hours. Like, okay, I mean that's a lot for a kayak event. If you're trying to just manage your region and where you're going to go and pick and choose your events. Most people like to fish at least three. So I totally get that. 88 is still a huge number for KBF for Lake Champlain. I hope based on what happened this weekend, it is one of the 8 next year that they actually go to. Okay. But that wasn't the only thing going down this weekend, mates. Okay? Kayak Fishing League, KFL. Check them out. Kayak Fishing League, I think it's KFLfishing.com, Motion Sports Network. Find them on Facebook. Find them on Instagram. Just find them. Okay? Check them out. Those of you guys who know me, who live around me, who know me. I love the KFL. I probably have the shortest owner tenure in the history of the KFL. Okay, that's what everyone pokes fun about me with the Maryland squad that we didn't get in this year, but that's okay. And we got something happening hopefully for 2023 with some boys up in the Appalachians. So Smallies. Don't sleep on the Smallies. All right. So KFL actually had 2 matches on Lake Champlain this weekend during the KBF event. Pretty freaking cool. We've seen this before. We saw this in week 1 with KFL, where I think there was a Chickamauga event for Hobie, and there was a KFL match going down last week at Lake Chickamauga. So it's kind of cool. So you talk about 2 matches going on at the same time the KBF is going on. Now, I'm not exactly sure. I know a lot of the guys double dipped. That's what happens when you're competing in 2 events at the same time. I don't think all the anglers did. I haven't checked that out yet. But huge shout out to Tyler Sweet with a 20.5 registered bass on Lake Champlain, which was the big bass of the KBF event. So Dakota and Lithium Big Bass Award for that. So that's outstanding. What's really cool about that story is Tyler fishes for, I think he might own it as well, the New York Empire in the KFL. So you had a KFL angler, 2 KFL anglers, if I'm not mistaken, could be 3, all got tied for the big bass on Lake Champlain, because I think Jody Queen fishes for the Tennessee Shiners. I'm not sure if he's fished an event yet, but he fishes for the Tennessee Shiners because that team's stacked. Okay, stacked. Like New York Yankees, like old school stacked. Okay, but it was really, really interesting to see that, because last week New York Empire, a brand new team in the KFL, didn't really do as well as some people expected them to do in week 1. But they're a brand new team. You've got to learn how to angle as a team and all that good stuff. It's, again, you have those things, right? All good teams do. But then to come back home, keep your home waters in the win column and to show out is pretty extraordinary. I think he finished in 4th on day 1. So he got that bass. I think he got that big bass on day 1, I think. Finished in 4th place on the trail event in day 1. But the awesome thing I want people to take away from this little recap is how the KFL anglers showed out on Lake Champlain. Okay? Now, there are a lot of anglers in the KFL because there are a lot of northeastern teams. Okay? Let me tell you what. If you just go back and scroll through the KBF rankings for day 1, day 2, and Pro Series, you're going to find KFL hammers all over the freaking place. Okay? There's no denying. Now, the knock a lot of times is, hey, Northeast anglers can't travel south, right? And then the knock on the Florida anglers is Florida anglers can't fish outside, or Texas too, can't fish outside of Florida, right? All that, whatever. Okay, noise. I call that shit noise, okay? Because this weekend, we also saw the Florida Copperheads of the KFL basically extend the middle finger to everybody who kept freaking being on their ass about not winning an away game last year, went up to South Carolina, I think it was Santee Cooper, and said, thank you very much, I'll take another win, 2-0 on the road. Definitely got to be number 1, tied for number 1 in the power rankings of any team in the KFL. That's not taking anything away from Coosa Kingfishers, okay? Massive, right? We're looking at massive amounts of length caught by the Coosa Kingfishers in the last 2 weeks. I can't take that away from them, right? You can't. They're 2-0. Granite State's 2-0. Big time. I picked Granite State, by the way. Just go back check that, okay? Got my sweatshirt coming. Should be coming. Greg, make sure it's coming from the fan store. I want my sweatshirt. I'm just kidding. But you're looking at that, man. I mean, 192.25 for Granite State right now after 2 weeks, okay? Motor City, 2-0, 192.50 in length. They came to the Potomac, laid the smackdown on the Warhawks home water, then went back home to Michigan, laid the smack on that one. They're 2-0, right? Didn't see that one coming, did you? Okay, everyone's been talking about the boys from Texas, the boys from Florida, the boys from Tennessee Shiners. Well, they're 1-1, okay? Because you got to be able to steal wins on the road in the KFL. That's just how it works, right? It's how it's set up. It's the genius of the concept. You can't just win on your home waters, right? You got to be able to have teams, stack teams. You got to stack your team for home and away, play your strengths, all kinds of crazy strategies. It's crazy. And it's patterned after, for those of you who aren't familiar with the NFL, KFL, it's patterned after the NFL, okay? So if you have an NFL mindset, it's got fantasy like the NFL, teams, how teams are run, and it's so funny. Because, again, me, outside looking in, right? Because I don't have to deal with all the intricacies of, like I thought I was going to have to, of like picking anglers to fish. Especially guys, sticks and hammers that fish far better than I do. So I probably never would have seen the water the entire season compared to a lot of the hammers up here. But hey, we got a couple guys that were going to fish with our Maryland squad. David Burt, J.R. Wrench showed out on Lake Champlain. Congratulations to them. They're fishing with the Delaware Doom. The Doom almost stole a freaking victory on the road. That's huge. It's hard to drive all the way from Delaware to freaking Lake Champlain and fish. I don't care what anybody says. That's just a hard thing to do. And they almost stole a victory there. So they're 1-1. So they're sitting all right. Because they caught length. Remember, the KFL has a couple qualifiers for playoff spots, right? That are head-to-head and, I don't know, length difference in length and all that stuff. But you got to deep dive into all that stuff. Maybe somebody will do a video far more smarter than I am on how that all works. But it's interesting to follow. But you got to look at it. Look, Delaware Doom took on the New York Empire, who got crushed last week. Right now, currently holds the lowest one-day match total at 29 inches, okay? Almost surpassed on Saturday by the Norfolk Privateers, by the way, who struggled. A lot of people struggled in Virginia this weekend, if you look at a lot of all the events. But they struggled, okay? And so, but New York Empire still holds that title, okay, of having the least amount going into week 3 with a 29 spot, I think, last week in week 1. But this week, think about this. The New York Empire dropped a 20.5 Champlain bass. Delaware Doom dropped a 20.5 Champlain bass. Granite Sticks dropped a 20.5 bass on Lake Champlain. It's freaking crazy. None of that, of course, supersedes Cayman Rasmussen, Oklahoma Outlaws, 24.75 tank on the road in Texas against the Lone Star Bandits, who are now 0-2. So who does that remind you of, right? Interesting side question for Greg and the folks, and Todd and the folks at KFL. Last season, because I don't know the answer. Last season, did a team that started 0-2 make the playoffs? Just laying that out there. Did they? Because I don't know the answer. But I know in the NFL, if you start out 0-2, guess what? The history's not on your side of making the playoffs. So the Lone Star Bandits out of Texas lost on Fairfield, and they got a lot of work to do. Nothing against the boys down in Texas, but they got a lot of work to do. They got to pick up a couple games on the road to make up for that loss. Not only did Oklahoma have a 24.75, they also had a 23.75, okay? And the largest bass caught by the Bandits on their home water was 21.75. So there's some big bass caught, okay? Big bass caught right there. But none of that compares to the trifecta 3 spot put up by the Virginia Reapers. That's right, new team, Virginia Reapers from my home state, where I'm from, Virginia, dropped a trifecta, a 22, a 21, and a 20.5 down in North Carolina, okay? On the road, taking the victory. These road wins are massive. I want to go back and look at last year. I don't think we had this many road wins last year going into week 3. I really don't. That tells you something about these new teams in the KFL that are stacked with freaking sticks that people don't know about. I didn't know any of those guys. I never heard of any of those guys. Got to watch them on a live stream a little bit. Okay, like damn. Okay, and that's what it's about, man. Guys are going to come out of nowhere. You know who the Hammers are. Everybody knows who the Hammers are. okay, in the KFL. The damn Tennessee Shiners should be the freaking Tennessee Hammers, and the Alabama Hammers should probably be the Alabama Shiners. I don't know, but that's just the way it is. Recognizable names. People that have been fishing for years in a KBF or in Hobie, right? A lot of those names are becoming household names for people who follow kayak bass fishing. But some of these new guys, we saw it last weekend in week 1. Zach Bunner, if you didn't know him, if you didn't live in Maryland or Virginia, Delaware, the DMV, okay, you might not have known that cat. You might not have. You do now. You do now. And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what's going to happen. I mean, people are going to attach themselves. But you're looking at these, look at these week 2 totals, okay? We talked about 192 Granite Sticks, 192 Motor City, Coosa, 199 inches in 2 matches. Oklahoma Outlaws, 194.50 in 2 matches. Southern Slayers, 194.25 in 2 matches. And that's what I'm saying, like, consistency. What kind of drop-off do you have in your lineup? Right? Do you have a drop-off in your lineup? Those are the things you got to look at. Fantasy players got to look at that. Like, who they, when you're going team, when I'm doing side bets with people, okay, because it's just team, it's not player. You better know. It's not just say, hey, you got to look at the lineup. Because on balance, you would have said the Tennessee Shiners are going to win every game. But that's why you play the match. Because we all know. It all comes down to that. You got to get on there and you got to play. Just like any other sport, any other game. Listen, I reckon it is. I've sat watch this weekend. Maryland Terrapins out of the NCAA baseball playoffs. Tennessee Volunteers out of the NCAA baseball college World Series, right? Teams ranked in the top 5 out of the college baseball World Series. You got to play the game. That's what happens. Paper is paper. Water is water. Catching fish is catching fish. Okay? And that's what it basically comes down to. So there are some surprises here that are absolutely phenomenal from all this. But a couple shout outs because I think they deserve it here and should be all over the KFL page, should be all over every podcast. People should be having these guys on the shows. Check out Fishing DMV. Hopefully we're going to get some teams hooked up with Thomas to be on that show. The teams that are coming to play the Warhawks in the DMV. You got Ryan and Nick Audi. Ryan and his dad, Frank, Nick Audi, Pennsylvania Brownbacks going up to Lake Champlain, dropping 188 inches and 183.5 inches on Lake Champlain. Now, they didn't have a match, and they're lucky. I'm telling you that right now. New York Empire, Granite State, okay, Bay State, whatever. You got to be lucky that you weren't playing the Pennsylvania Brownbacks this weekend on Lake Champlain because those friggin' hammers dropped it hard. Finishing in the top 5, top 10 KBF. Mike Elsey finished second place on day 2, Lake Champlain. He's on the Knights. Derek Brundle from KFL finished in 3rd on day 2. Nick finished in 3rd. And Tyler, like I said before, finished in 4th. It's freaking crazy. Okay? Now, let's talk a little bit of power rankings. Like, where do we stand after week 2, right? A lot of debate will come up this week. Those people all fish. I don't fish in the league, so I can have a little bit of fun with it and just play from the outside, and then they can all pay my ass back next season. But freaking Florida Copperheads, man. 379. Like, Coosa, 382. Motor City, 361. Granite State, 355. In 2 weeks, right? I don't know what the point differential is because I know that's one of the qualifiers. But you're talking about serious freaking hammers, okay? It don't matter to me, these single-day events, these Hobie events, these freaking, like, whatever, bass events, okay? You want to freaking watch some serious shit going down, watch the KFL on Saturday. Live stream. From your favorite team. Pick a team, follow them. Me, I picked my team, I'm following them. Okay? My team's not in it this year. My state doesn't have a team in it this year. I'm all cool with that. No worries. Got love for everybody. But don't sleep on the boys from Granite State. I'm telling you that right now. A lot of people did. Don't do it. So I'm really looking forward to that. But that's just how it went down. And you got a lot of other stuff, man, that happened this weekend that's just so freaking cool. Sunshine State Swamp Donkeys, okay? A 23.5, 21.75. If you were checking the board, seeing this shit drop down and like looking at these freaking catches, like even Deep South Kraken cracked to 20.25. Motor City at 20.25, 20.25, right? And then the Shiners came out late with a 20.5 and a 20.25. Okay, we already talked about the Reapers. The Warhawks. The Warhawks had a tight game again. 2 weeks in a row. Took the victory with, I think, 51 inches off a 21.25. So what does that tell you? Okay? One thing it tells you is the Norfolk Privateers are in trouble. Okay? 0-2. On the road, I think, on the road, 2 losses. Okay? They got to make that up at home. Okay? But right now, they're sitting right there above. Actually, they may be, they're right there above the lowest match level because New York Empire has that from week 1. But New York Empire showed out on Lake Champlain. So you now have the Norfolk Privateers sitting with 180 inches, which is the lowest, I believe, a team with 2 games played, the lowest total. And so that is huge. Like, you got to get it down. Like, they got to dial that in. They got to win them home games now. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably got a string of home games coming up. Prime time, I don't know where they're fishing, but, you can't drop another one. You cannot drop. You got to get to 2-2. Boys from Norfolk love the Virginia teams. The boys from Norfolk got to get to 2-2. But after week 4. Warhawks stole one, I guess. I don't know if you consider a steal. I think they actually led throughout. Still, I think 51 inches on the hunting run. And I think it was the Nye Reservoir. I can't remember what that reservoir is called, to be honest with you. But you basically could pick either one. But it's mostly the hunting run. Which just, man, there's some big ones in there. But that bite that's a hard bite. I mean, I know other guys got a lot of lakes around the country that are like that. That, man, they're on or they're off. And that's what it comes down to like the lakes that you're picking. You know, how you schedule your events, how you schedule which lakes or rivers you're going to fish on, getting them on the right time. I know right now the Potomac's been kind of like, I know like I said earlier, the MLF hit a 20-pound bag, but a lot of people have been talking about the Lower Potomac fishing really, really tough right now. Whereas like Lake Champlain, the Northeast Lakes, showing out. Right? You know, I got an event coming up. There's an event coming up Saturday for all those. If you're in Virginia or anywhere in the region, really, and you want to participate in that, check out NVKBA. Has got an event on the Rappahannock, the Shenandoah, or the Upper Potomac on Saturday. Southwest Virginia Yackers has got a smallmouth event, a multi-state smallmouth event, including Virginia and Maryland and Tennessee and West Virginia. So a lot of those rivers are also in play. And the rivers right now the rivers are on fire right now. I mean, they just are. People are freaking slaying 19s and 20s, okay, out of the New River, the Holston, the Shenandoah, and the Upper James. So I don't know, what's going to go down on Saturday, the weather changing. But you got guys that fish on KFL teams that also fish in KBA. So we'll see what happens at the club level. But it's just an outstanding weekend. This weekend has been unbelievable in terms of the KFL, even the KBF. I mean, it was just a great event from what I understand from people that are up there. By the way, I'm sorry, I missed one. Another shout out, KFL, Rich Biggie, who now fishes for Bay State Attack. Okay, 184.25 inches up on Lake Champlain over 2 days. So that's a huge thing. So I encourage everybody, again, take advantage of the Phantom Outdoors and Rugged Road Outdoors Father's Day sales. Check them out. Again, have some fun. Play some pick a KFL team. Get on there. Follow the live streams if you're not fishing. Form a team. And if your state doesn't have a team, get some guys together for next season and get involved because even as what I call the KFL fandom, okay, because not competing, okay, I'm just a fan like everybody else, okay, no different than everybody else watching the freaking NFL, right? I'm just a fan, okay, so I'm gonna talk some shit because I'm a fan, so I can talk some shit and they can talk some shit back. That's the beauty of it, okay. We're gonna talk about some MVPs coming up this week. We're gonna talk about some top performers coming up this week. Fantasy, I think the same guy won again week 1 and week 2 in fantasy. Damn it! Okay? He's a hammer! Picking the freaking 2 winning fantasy players out of the league back to back. He's a hammer! Somebody buy that guy a beer. That's just some freaking crazy shit. If he does it week 3, I'm gonna buy him a beer, damn it! That's just unfreaking believable that's what's going on. So the excitement is there. The passion is there. The teams are there. Go to the KFL fan store. Get yourself some freaking outerwear, leisure wear, fishing wear, whatever you want. But the bottom line is this thing is only going to get better. This thing is only going to get better. So keep following it. If your team isn't doing as well, don't worry because there's always the next game. Right? And that's what you got to look at it. One game at a time, one bet at a time, one fantasy play at a time, and go from there. Just a really quick recap, all in good fun. Don't anybody get all upset. Hit me up, talk some shit, grab a beer, do whatever. We'll make it happen, okay? But at the end of the day, it's just catching fish, folks. Okay? It's just catching fish. All right. Later, mate.